Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Camera Tuesday. In today's episode we're gonna take a look at Pro Handycam, the thriving market. So let's dive right into it. Now what you have to understand is that as my last episode I talked about handycams are dying flat out. They are dying, like companies are no longer investing boatload of money as they used to. However, Pro handycams are becoming a bigger and bigger part of our daily life. Simply think of it this way: any handycam that is costing upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 is generally reaches in that price bracket. So what do they offer and why they are winning? It's very simple. Generally they come with bigger sensor. Now what I mean by bigger sensor, I don't mean it like full frame sensor. Sometimes they could have micro four thirds, sometimes they could have 1-inch sensor or APS-C sensor. Generally that is the range. They will not give you full frame, but they will give you much bigger sensor than normal handycams, so you will get that shallow depth of field. And the lens generally accommodating these things are generally good quality. They will not go for 50x 60x. They will try to give you as best quality lens as they can give you. So generally 10 to 12x with a fixed aperture, 20x zoom with good aperture. So these sort of things are possible in handycam industry if you go for professional handycams. Now what does this sort of thing make it professional? Well, control. Like that's the only difference between a consumer end product and a high-end product. A high-end product allows you to control every damn thing. As you can see how many controls, knobs, things of that nature we have. This is directly meant for someone who know what they are doing and know exactly what they have to change in order to achieve their desired result. So generally you want to change volume control, you don't have to fiddle around with it. You will have a dedicated knob. You can change ND filters in many of them, as in let's say you're directly going from a tunnel to bright sunlight. You can change the ND filter on the go and you will get a very good quality image. And many of them have what we call aperture rings. Basically you have 3 rings on the lens, and most of them are generally not connected physically. They are connected by what we call drive-by-wire. So one will be focus, one would be your zoom, another would be your aperture. So you'll get lot of control directly. So you have to understand this. Everything exists in a context. Without the context it's meaningless. So context in here, it is like it's almost as good as these big movie cameras. Now one thing this movie camera offer you is very simple. Most of them generally come with interchangeable lens, so you can precisely select which lens you want. And to give you a context of it, there are movie directors, like people who are so influential, they don't choose the camera, they choose the lens. Like this has happened that people have like selected a lens. Okay, this lens is meant for 70mm film. Okay, give me 70mm film. This sort of things have happened because lenses give you color. Lenses is the basically thing that is coloring your image. So if lens gives you a good quality color, you're gonna get a good quality image. If lens itself is bad, yeah, you're done. So for this reason, lenses play a very crucial role. That is very crucial when you are only recording for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. These cameras do not, they are not meant to record 3-hour or 4-hour shooting. You can't do that in RED camera. Although you can do a bit of that in this, because RED camera have such a small memory that you can only record for 15 to 20 minutes. And that's provided you have continuous power. And so be mindful, like if you are talking about this sort of professional handycam, it can go toe to toe with these puppies, not because that has better lens, simply because it has much more control that are present in movie cams. So you can't change the lens, but you get the control. And on top of that camera is generally built for continuous recording, and they test it. Like when they give you the handycam, is generally been tested, at least the design has been tested, that it can work upwards of 4 or 5 hours continuously. It can be powered externally. You can record the data externally sometimes also. And many of the Panasonic camera come with the ability that you can swap cards. Like you will have 2 cards. One would be written, the moment it's full, it will create a clone package and then dump it into the second one. So you will have a bit of overlap. Then you can replace the first card, put the second card, continuously keep recording. And even though DSLRs nowadays come with DSLR and mirrorless comes with dual card slot, very few of them have the ability to A, hot swap, B, record video on both of them. Generally for images they do, but for video they don't. So be mindful of that. These cameras generally do this sort of function. And when we are talking about somebody shooting, you have to understand it's a package deal. Whenever you are buying something like this, it's not that, oh, this is $8,000, you spend $8,000, you good. Like, you have to spend like another $3,000-4,000 for lenses, $5,000-10,000 for the accessories, things of that nature pile up. Here, you know what you're getting. It's like, okay, this is a complete package. So let's say you do a lot of what we call run and gun shooting, that will satisfy you. Let's say you just came around some scene and somebody say, hey, we're gonna have this celebrity randomly showing up and we're gonna do an interview. Again, this camera will take time to set up, that quick to go. So, and from cost point of view, they do not cost a lot. So as I said, $2,000. Now that $2,000 would be a lot, but be mindful, it is giving you generally either 1-inch or APS-C, which is not that small compared to a full frame. So you got the sensor, you got good lens, and it has continuous recording limits, continuous recording ability and hot swapping, and that you can power it from external system. So all those things combined, if you compare it to a DSLR or a mirrorless or anything like that, flat out there is no comparison, simply because they are not meant to. Like, a photography camera is a photography camera, this is for video. Every aspect about these cameras are tailor-made for video, every aspect of it, and they are tested. Good cameras are, if somebody gives you a crappy one, I'm sorry for that, but they are tested. And not to mention, $2,000 may seem extreme, but then you have to realize Sony A7 Mark III, that is like, causing all the ripple, is $2,000, but that $2,000 is for body only. Basically, you spend $2,000, you will have nothing at the other end, you will just have nothing, because you have to add lens. Without lens, it's pointless. So from that point of view, these things are not that expensive. So if you are considering any sort of profession where video is your main, bread and butter, be mindful, pay close attention to these puppies. So when I say they generally come made for video and generally have no limitation, what I am referring to is simply because they don't have recording limits. This is the most annoying thing, that a company as big as Sony or Nikon or Canon flat out block their video recording to 30 minutes. Now earlier, many of you are familiar with old digital cameras. There used to be a limit, what we call FAT, file system limit, as in a video recorded file cannot exceed 4 GB. So if you exceed 4 GB, it will cut the file and create a new file. So you may have a software that allowed 4 GB files, and you can stitch them up in a program afterwards, so you'll get that. But exFAT came along, so the file size limitation is gone. Then why the heck our DSLRs have that 30-minute limit? Simply because to exceed 30-minute limit, it will be classified as video camera in European Union. So European Union would be like, if your camera can record more than 30 minutes, you have to pay what we call video camera tax. Now it's not that much, but it is a little bit more that they have to pay. Panasonic did that for GH5, not for every Panasonic camera. Be mindful, if you are buying a Panasonic camera, choose and read the specification carefully, because not every Panasonic camera is like 24/7 recording. Most of them don't, only 1 or 2 has. So because of that reason, flat out, even though camera could have a sensor that can continuously record for 2-3 hours without overheating, could have battery that can go for that long, could have a card capacity that can do that long, it simply wouldn't allow you to. Why? Tax. In this, they pay tax, so there is no recording limit. And not to mention, when I say continuous recording, is that it can actually support it. Think of it this way, if you want to understand the power consumption of these puppies, it's more or less the same, if not less, compared to a DSLR. So how much watt per hour is being consumed by these is generally on the same level than your DSLR. So that means the whole body is acting as a heat sink. There is enough mass that it can discharge heat, as in dissipate heat without causing overheating issues. So they are capable of running for multi-hour sessions. And as you can see, I already mentioned, many professional Handycams have this function where you will have multiple card slot, and they can sometimes also, while you're recording onto both card slot, you can also stream, and they generally give you very high quality recording capability, as in 4:2 10-bit internal. So do check the manual, because pro Handycams is a wide genre range. I can't just give you, okay, this Handycam. Every Handycam has different, so be mindful. They generally give you a very high quality video image, and this is the final nail in the coffin. They generally have better low light performance than your normal camera. Like, wait, how that happens? Simply because they use what we call a low resolution sensor. So if you check, the resolution of the sensor is very low. To give you an idea, 4K red apex sensor is generally only 8 megapixel. The benefit of that, your photo site, the site that you are recording image to, is become very big. Benefit, signal to noise ratio becomes better. Benefit, you can see in the dark. So generally all movie cameras have very clear image because of that nature. So Handycam also implement those sort of functions. They will not give you 24 megapixel sensor because that's a waste of resources here. So they generally use low basically megapixel sensor, which gives you, if generally better low noise performance, if not same noise performance as you will get the best DSLR or mirrorless. So be aware of that. That's why I said this is built for one thing and it does that thing well. Now, as you can see, this has 2 XQD card slots, so you can and they have LED also, so you will know which card is ready to be removed. So once the first card fills up, let's say A1, the light will start flashing and you can pop that card out, put a new blank card in and continuously keep recording. And almost all of them have the ability to be externally powered, so you can just simply use it as a webcam if you so wish. Now, better audio. Now, anybody who started in YouTube will be very familiar with the idea that camera audio generally sucks. Even with the best of the best DSLR or mirrorless, you can buy the audio flat out sucks. On these puppy, audio generally takes a much serious consideration. So much so that Sony, Panasonic and Canon generally give you a flat out powered input where you can connect professional grade microphones into it directly, and what we call onboard op amps, basically the amplifier that is there for boosting the signal and converting it to digital signals, they are generally much higher quality. So, and because there is much more physical space, they generally do a much better job. So you can record audio directly, high quality audio. You would not need this sort of contraption directly on camera itself, which saves a hell lot of a hassle. If you are doing a run and gun shoot, you can directly do this, and many of them, like especially Sony ones, because Sony also makes a lot of wireless microphone, you can directly clip into the system, no wire attached. Like you will simply mount the system on the camera and your actors or whoever it is, they will simply have lavalier mics on them. So the audio really plays a crucial role, especially in video, and these things generally take a lot of effort into making sure that they will give you a best audio experience possible. That is flat out undeniable. You will not get any DSLR or any mirrorless that can even come half as close as this. And the final control aspect of it is that they generally give you live control. Because it's a video camera, they know that you can't have the luxury to directly plop out all the settings and, like, you know, you'll be like, oh, you want to change aperture? This, I have no idea why Nikon does that. It's like, oh, you want to change aperture? Yeah, stop video recording and then you can change the aperture. It's a software limit, but these sort of camera, they have no such limitation. At least they try to remove as many limitations as they can. You can change the ISO on the fly, you can change the ND filter on the fly, you can change the, as you can see, this 3-ring architecture is very common in professional DSLRs. Why I'm saying DSLR, professional Handycams, where you will have one for zoom, as in how much zoom you can do, another for focus, another for aperture. All these things are independent and will be working no matter whether you're recording or you're not recording. So this is really helpful. Like if you need to do something, like if you saw something and you're like, okay, that you know, let's say explosion is about to happen, you have a scene setup and you need to reduce the aperture quickly, again, this camera will allow you to do that. And if you want to do that rack focus thing, this sort of thing will allow you to do it very easily. Other things also, like audio setup itself also gets a dedicated knobs generally. So even though, let's say, one actor started screaming, you can directly on the camera body, without going into menu, without anything, you can just change the volume level. So, and you wouldn't be surprised to find out many documentaries are generally shot on these sort of puppies, because even though you can afford a red package, just I told you, like if you want to do run and gun, like, you know, off the cuff, these cameras are much better tool than those cameras. So this was my presentation on why professional Handycams are, like, you know, taking the market by storm, and I hope you liked it or learned from it. In that case, please leave a like. If you didn't, don't worry about it, you can dislike it. I would urge you to leave a comment on my video, and please subscribe, share it amongst your friends, hashtag Camera Tuesday, and if you're free, press the bell icon, and as always, thanks for watching.